in a dirty world. Dirty, 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 dirty world. Talking clean in a dirty world.
Good luck with that.
Hello, folks. We're back for another episode of Talking Clean in a Dirty World, and we're glad that you're here with us. We talk about a different subject every time, and as you can see, I have some other gentlemen with me. We're going to talk through, well, a different subject today. Found a report that is talking about, well, the growth in the industry, and I'm just going to throw this up, guys, here to start with. This says here that there is a growing demand for real estate that is fueling the sector. And they talk about in here that because of this growth in real estate, that there is going to be also a growth in our market for custodial. They're saying here at a growth rate of 9%. Now I'm going here and I looked at other industries that are growing at this kind of a rate, and most industries are not growing at a rate of 9%. You find this interesting, or do you agree?
Yeah, it's definitely, I can see where those numbers that make sense where the demand's coming in for janitorial, because the more buildings you got, the more you got to clean it.
Now, Javier, as you made a comment there, I didn't know if you saw this. I thought it was interesting that the first thing that they mention after they start talking about the little bullet point factors, that the janitorial service also refers to the waste removal. How many services in janitorial are actually thinking about waste removal?
Well, but we haven't branched out so much into composting, but one thing for sure, Dave, is we offer a broader range of services than the standard janitorial, and we always tell our customers that too. One thing that's been big for us is what we're doing a lot of now, and this refers back to buildings and everything else, is post-construction cleaning. That is a big, big, big thing. As a matter of fact, we just finished the job at Tampa Airport yesterday, at Tampa International Airport, with one of our clients over there. And that's something that a lot of janitorial companies, including ours, out there are really offering that service more. I think it's becoming more pronounced now because obviously, they're putting up more buildings. So after the contractors are done, somebody's got to haul and get all that dust and get all that stuff out of there. So it's a service now that's becoming more on a regular basis than it ever was before. I think in the past, a lot of the janitorial companies were limited themselves or were not interested in that sort of service. But I know, at least for us, I'm speaking on our behalf. I mean, I don't know how many other companies venture into doing it, but.
Do you see that as new construction, or is this being repurposed construction?
Most of the time it is new construction. There's a certain percentage of it to where they just come in and they're just rebuilding, or redoing the existing building. But usually they come in and they gut it. They just leave the shell of the building and then, they fix it up inside, however, to whatever architecture that new company wants. But the great majority is new construction. Yeah.
I think as I looked on down in this report, it also referred to the outdoor of the building, keeping the hygiene of the outdoor, keeping the stuff from coming in a building. Now, this is something that's been true to my heart, is dirt comes in through the front door, comes into the floors, the carpet or hard floor. I remember a gentleman I talked to that makes a six-figure income with a dustpan and a broom because he's taking care of the parking lot, keeping it tidy. Have you added a service like this?
Yes. As a matter of fact, we have a building in Town and Country area of Tampa where we do that. It is actually part of, in our contract with the client, to service the outside of the building. We have part of the duties of our employee that's there is to go every morning before they even start and to pick up trash around the property, to pick up any empty boxes, anything that's on there. That's one of the duty assignments. So yeah, we do that as well.
Well, I think during COVID, we all saw the hand gloves and we saw the masks laying all over everywhere because people were just disposing them, out of their cars and as they walk to the car and stuff. Do we see this anymore?
As far as I'll tell you, as far as masks, that's pretty died down. I rarely see masks on the floor much anymore, Dave. I mean, there's one here, one there. You come across one. I mean, I saw one in Home Depot the other day when it was outside the parking lot. But as a rule, no. I think that it's just more. It's gone back to more just general things that people would drop. Things that fall out of your car, or they just literally want to throw trash on the floor. I mean, potato chip wrappers and all that kind of stuff.
$100 bill.
Dave, I don't want to throw ice water on this, but when I look at the headline of this, and you read and you can't read it, it's 275 pages and it costs $4,000 to get to the report. But when you look at the headline and the snippet that we get, I just have a lot of questions because there's inflation too. And is this adjusted for inflation? Because if it is, or isn't, if it's not adjusted for inflation, they're not talking about growth. They're just talking about riding the inflation wave. And then how is this broken down in commercial, industrial, however this is in comparison. So, I mean, I can't read the report, so I'm not going to pay the $4,000 to read it. So I can't really speak on it, but I guess that's the question I would have on it. And to me, it kind of looks like a nothing burger of information. Like, oh, the industry is going to be just like the industry was, less inflation.
Well, I think the reason that I thought it was interesting is because, it's back to what Javier was just talking about is I think that the custodial janitorial market, a lot of people see it as a dead end, no future type of industry. And I think the whole thing here is as industry grows, as industry comes back, whether it be repurposing, like you said, Javier, bring it back to a shell and repurposing that. I'm seeing quite a bit of that over here in Orlando. I'm seeing new construction all the time. And I always think somebody has to clean that. Every new building that goes up, that's more jobs for our industry.
I guess when you speak Florida specific and you speak of the free state of Florida comparative to the rest of the U.S., but this is speaking of the U.S. comparative. Of course, you drive down I-4, you drive on I-75. There's millions of square feet getting built. So yes, our industry is popping down here, but is it the same in every segment of the United States? And this report is about the United States, not the state of Florida. Otherwise, it would be a lot more than 9%. That I'm sure of, because it's outperforming inflation comparative to the rest of the United States. So, anyways, that's my first questions on it when I look at it. But I'm just a headline reader of it. So, what do I know?
I have a little different take on the whole thing.
Okay, well, let's hear your take, Don.
That's what
my take is because I'm old. I look at it from old eyes, and I look around and see what I see out here in the world today. And I'm thinking to myself that this new generation, and I'm not talking any specific.
Are you going to start yelling at clouds?
No. I'm just telling you the facts.
Okay.
The new generation of folks that I have come in contact with in all walks of my life, and this has been probably, it's generational. It's not a generation. I'm not putting it all on one generation, X, Y, Z, or whatever. I think it's because my kids were the same way, but they grow and they learn. But none of these young folks are going to want to clean anything. They're going to want to have somebody do it for them because everything that they do now, somebody else is doing it for them. They're having their food brought to them. They're not having to go out and get their food. They're not having to go out and get anything. It's being brought to them. And I think that attitude is going to float right in through to our industrial, our commercial programs. When they become the managers or whatever, they're going to consider that janitorial business needs to be farmed out. I think it's a huge boom coming for the janitorial cleaning industry. I think it's a huge boom. And the second point is there's a huge, and this is just Florida, because I don't know about anybody else's living areas, but in our area, they are building rental properties, and even homes are going to rental properties by the boatloads. And guess who cleans those? Those people who own those buildings don't clean them. They farm that out. I think there's a huge boom coming for that. The apartment building complexes, who's going to clean those when the apartments get changed over? It's just little pieces and segments of what our industry does. But I think it's, from Javier's standpoint, you need to broaden your horizon and go, okay, this is a big market heading my way. What can I do to be implemented? And I thought of, you get hooked up with real estate people who do these rental properties and say, hey, I want to be your cleaning guy. When you change over a house, I want to be the crew who comes in and cleans it. I'll clean it out for you in a day and have it turned over by 4 o'clock tomorrow, that afternoon. You can do that, folks. You will create a whole market segment that nobody can touch.
Don, as you say that, and I listen to what Javier said, it's interesting as I see students come in here to the academy, how recently I have heard more people talking about the post-construction cleanup. And just this last week, one of the students actually was on our YouTube channel, watched one of the post-construction cleanup for VCT floors, called me up and said, that's what I've got to have. I have customers that have, and I need. And I think this is actually starting to kick in because of that. There's a lot of services that I think are starting to figure out that there's what's called niche cleaning, and they're looking for other revenue other than what most of us have considered a custodial janitorial service. I guess that was my purpose in bringing that up, because I thought of it as I looked through there. It was thinking of different things outside of what we talked about before, cleaning the toilet, washing the windows, thinking outside of the box of doing what is basically and still needed. Don't get me wrong. We still need those services, but I think we're looking for other profitable. And so our LV class, we've seen an uptick of people coming in strictly for the luxury vinyl, because that's the new flooring that's going in. They don't want to compete with everybody else doing everything. Am I missing the boat here, Javier? I mean, you're the one on the front lines for the contracting.
No, Dave, I think you hit the nail on the head, and I think Don's absolutely right. What he just said about the different types of things. You know, what was another
Great job.
I'll pay you later, Javier. Oops,
you know, was another one is the Airbnbs.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Rentals, baby. Any kind of rentals.
Any types of the rentals, any of that kind of stuff. Don's right. I mean, there's a huge market in that. Huge market. And you know, in certain cases, it kind of tends to go more toward like residential type cleaning because, you know, a lot of times it's people's homes that they are renting out and stuff like that. So I could see where the little bit different if you're more on the commercial side of doing things. But yeah, I mean, it's a huge market, and there's not really that many people doing it. So,
but Javier, even though you're talking about some people residential, what I'm also saying is the people that just signed up for Stone class here for tomorrow.
Right. And
he's going into a niche because he said, I'm finding so many residential places that have stone type floors, marble, terrazzo, concrete. He says, where I need to be specific in that because the people that are cleaning those facilities don't know how to take care of them.
Right.
And so he's going to go into this niche, and he's already got 2 contractors lined up that he can work with that are doing repurposing and new. And he's already got the contractors, real estate people ready to go. They just said, hey, whenever you're good at it, let's go.
Yeah. And that's fantastic. You know, that's great that he, you know, he's headed that way and setting that up. I mean, it's a great, you know, promise there for that type of stuff. So yeah, I mean, it's just amazing how, going back to what like Don said, you know, how many different things that are happening now that can offer so many varieties.
Well, now that Don's got his agreements, I guess we can move on to another subject. Don's head's going to get too big for that. Oh my! Well, folks,
I'm sorry, Dave. That just shows that Javier and I are on the same page, man. We are right there, baby.
Well, folks, you can either see this is a reason that we bring up these topics of conversation. No matter how you look at it, please look at what's going on out there in the market. Take a look at maybe some different options. I think that's the reason for this discussion. Whether you agree with a report or not, or as you said, Bobby said, I'm not going to pay $4,000 for that report because it may not show. Take a look, see what you need to. The whole thing is simply be aware of what's going on out there. And we appreciate whatever you're doing. Please follow and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Jim Supply, where you can find this session and all the other sessions we do here at Talking Clean in a Dirty World. We appreciate your time you've spent with us and hope you come back for another episode the next time we air one. Thanks for watching.
Talking clean in a dirty world. Talking clean in a dirty world. Dirty, 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 dirty world. Talking clean in a dirty world.